Hey man, I don't know if you realize this. Fear didn't start with you, but if you don't deal with it, it will define you. I know a guy who thought anxiety was just normal till he realized it was something he learned and could unlearn. Stay with me. Thanks for joining me on another podcast episode of I Know a Guy. We are going to be looking at fear and faith in the next couple days. I'm Steve Cummings, your podcast host. Man, I want to ask you something. What if most of what you're afraid of was never actually yours to begin with? Okay, science tells us something interesting. We're only born with two fears, falling and loud noises. Guess what? Everything else? Learned, observed, and absorbed, which means fear has a story, guys, and if you don't know the story, you'll live inside it without ever questioning it. Yep, you guessed it. I know a guy who grew up in a home where anxiety was always in the air. It wasn't written on the walls. No one sat him down and said, "This is how you live," but it was there. His mom would explode at his dad. Arguments would escalate fast, and more than once, she would threaten to leave. Divorce wasn't just a word, it was a possibility hanging in the room. And for a little boy, that doesn't feel like conflict. That feels like abandonment waiting to happen. So what does a boy do with that? Well, he adapts. He becomes aware. He reads the room. He manages his behavior. He tries to stay ahead of the next explosion, not because he's weak, but because he's trying to survive. And here's the part most men miss. That little boy grows up, but the system he built to survive, it stays. Now it shows up as anxiety he can't explain, a need to control outcomes, overthinking conversations, and reacting instead of responding. And he calls it, that's just the way I am. No, it's not who you are. It's what you learned. The truth is, fear doesn't just come from danger. It comes from pain and the memory of pain. That's why so many men live with fear of failure, fear of not being enough, fear of disappointing others, and fear of rejection. Men, those aren't random. They're rooted. Something happened and your heart made disagreement. Never let that happen again. Men, here's the problem. When fear becomes your filter, your world gets smaller. You play it safe, you hold back, you protect instead of engage, and over time, you don't just avoid pain, you avoid life. So the Bible speaks directly into this. In Isaiah 41:10, it says, "Do not fear, for I am with you." Now, you and I have probably heard that a million times. That's not just comfort, man. That is correction. Because fear says, you're on your own. But the Father says, you never were. So maybe the question isn't, what am I afraid of? Maybe it's, where did this fear first teach me how to live? Because until you go there, you'll keep managing symptoms instead of healing roots. So men, if something in this has stirred you, there's probably a reason. A lot of guys hear this and think, okay, but how do I actually do this? And that's where I come in. I want you to think of me as a mobile men's pastor. All of my life and spiritual gifts and credentials and experience is all about helping men be the men that God's called them to be. I love shepherding men's hearts. I have the credentials and educational background and certifications to be a counselor, but I like to call myself a coach. So if you live here in the Atlanta area, we can meet face-to-face over coffee, breakfast, or lunch, and whatever works. And if you're somewhere else, guess what? We can meet virtually. With me, we're going to sit down for 90 minutes, no rush, no pressure, just a friend, someone who will listen, ask good questions, hear your heart, hear what the Holy Spirit's saying, and have a conversation about what's really going on beneath the surface. So if you want to start getting to the why beneath the what in your life, book time with me at bringingkingdom.org/booking. I'll put it down in the notes. And if you're part of a church, a men's group, or even a few guys who want to get away for a weekend, guess what? I'll come to you. Cabin, retreat, campfire, hunting, fishing. Those are some of the best conversations there are. Let me leave you with this as we end today's podcast. If you're realizing there's more going on beneath the surface in your life, maybe more than just what you're doing or not doing, That's exactly why I wrote my new book, The Father Eclipse, coming out June 1st. And I wrote it for real life, for guys like us. It's not long, it's not overwhelming, it's built like a conversation you'd have with me, something that you can read straight through in about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. It's designed to help you slow down, process your story, and reconnect with the truth of who you are as a beloved son. Check out the link in the show notes. It'll take you straight to Amazon to order a copy. And if you read it and it impacts you, would you take a moment to write a review on Amazon for me? That would really, really bless me and help other men find it too. Thanks so much. I'm honored to walk with you in this journey.